NFC Central Division rivals Detroit and Green Bay get set to square off. The incentive for Green Bay, they're one of 6 teams competing for the last available playoff spot in the NFC, and a victory today is a must against the Lions. Both teams will be battling frigid weather conditions, minus 28 degrees with the wind chill. It could get down to minus 40. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown along with Randy Cross. And the Lions come into today's contest with their much talked about run and shoot offense on a roll. And Randy, they're actually hoping to silence a few critics today.
In the last 2 weeks, Rodney Peete in the run and shoot against good opponents, and the Bears and the Raiders have put 69 points up. They've done very, very well. And the run and shoot architects, Mouse Davis and June Jones, they feel the last monkey they have to throw off their back is the fact that this run and shoot won't function in bad weather.
And talk about getting the monkey off the back. The Packers had a very businesslike week of work after that 31-0 spanking by the Philadelphia Eagles last week. Does that suggest we might see a different team today?
Well, Coach Lindy and Fonny of the Green Bay Packers Friday, when we met with them, seemed very subdued, very quiet. They're a team right now coming off a bad beating from the Philadelphia Eagles, and they made the point to us. Lindy said, it was my fault. My team wasn't ready, but tomorrow these guys are pros. They better be ready to play against Detroit because they're going to be loaded for bear.
The Lions have won the coin toss and have elected to receive Chris Jackie. Second-year kicker will be kicking off to the NFL's leading kickoff returner in Mel Gray. And from the 16, Chris Oldham fumbled. Looks to have been recovered by Green Bay. And the Packers will take over at about the 33-yard line of the Lions. And Randy, you mentioned one of the biggest problems in cold weather is holding on to the ball.
Football maintenance is the toughest part of this game in cold weather when you're not used to it. I consider the Detroit Lions a southern team, a warm weather team. They're in that dome all the time. And look at Oldham. He does not have a real good grasp. When you get in a crowd like that, you should have 2 hands on the ball.
An alert Carl Bland recovering the fumble, so the Packers 1st and 10 from the 34 of the Lions. Blair Keel, third-string quarterback, his first ever NFL start in the non-strike game. And Michael Haddix, pushing ahead down to near the 30-yard line. Pickup of 3 will bring up a 2nd and 7 as we take a look at Blair Keel, quarterback out of Notre Dame. And a big front line that's had some difficulties pass protecting, allowing a league-high 58 sacks to the quarterback this year. And a running game that's not emphasized very much. Indeed, the passing game is Sterling Sharp, the Pro Bowler, at wide receiver. 2nd and 7. Just underway, Packers with the ball after a fumble by the Lions out of the I formation right. Now a split backfield. And the handoff, a double reverse. This is Sterling Sharp. And Sterling Sharp picks up the first down with a 10-yard run out of bounds by Benny Blades. And Sharp involved early.
We talked about the frozen field conditions here in Green Bay, and what better play to run when you get the defense all reacting sharply to the right of the screen there, Sharp coming back the other way. It's hard to change direction. Look at Keel trying to get a block on Irvin, number 47. And finally, Blades just hog-ties him and throws him to the frozen turf.
Sharp and Blades are the best of friends off the field. Blades said he will not in any way show him any mercy on the field. Ball marked at the 20 of the Lions. 1st and 10. And we've got a timeout on the field. And Green Bay called a timeout. Blair Keel obviously seeing something he was a little confused about. Wants to talk it over with Lindy and Fonte. The poundage of gear, warm weather gear, or warm gear for cold weather that the Lions brought. There's Woody Wedenhofer there in the middle, wrapped up. As we take a look at Blair Kill. You know, Randy, he said that he has, in fact, some experience in cold weather conditions, having played in the Liberty Bowl back in 1983 when it was about 5 degrees below.
Well, plus playing in Notre Dame up in, in Indiana, it gets a little brisk there from time to time. What a perfect time, though, for Blair Keel and the Packers to go into the end zone. Great defensive front, Pro Bowler Jerry Ball, and this whole defense is just now getting healthy. Chris Philman's the man to watch. Kofer's a great pass rusher from the outside.
1st and 10 for the Pack. Ball at the 20 of Detroit. Ed West in motion. And the handoff on the ground again and dropped for a 3-yard loss. Jerry Ball in leading the tackle. A loss of at least 2 on the play. Woodside nowhere to go.
This Green Bay running game has been anemic all year long. In the last 3 weeks, they're averaging 42 yards a game rushing. That is not acceptable. You have got to get these guys going, and this is a big offensive line. The problem in Green Bay is they need a main man at running back.
5 defensive backs in for the Lions. 2nd and 11. Keel to pass. And it's complete to Ed West, the big tight end, for the 1st down inside the 5. An 18-yard pass play from Keel to West. West 6'1", 240.
And the Detroit defense seems to sniff this out from the very beginning. You'll see Keel will come to his right, and West doesn't look that open. Look at Benny Blake, takes a chance, almost gets the interception, gets his left arm on it, and from there on, it's trying to tackle a big physical tight end, and Ed West driving for the goal line.
1st and goal, ball marked at the 4. Darrell Thompson, the rookie, in. 2 tight ends for the Packers, Ed West and Jackie Harris. This is Harris in motion. Thompson, the rookie. And Thompson gets down to about the 2-yard line. Well, the Packers really haven't emphasized the running game much at all this season because of the offensive philosophy of Lindy Afonte, but he says he's pleased with the development of Darrell Thompson out of Minnesota.
He says, in all fairness, though, James, he says, we haven't given this guy a shot. He has not gotten the chance to really show what he can do. Starting next year in training camp, we're going to find out how good Thompson really is.
2nd and 2.
Herman Fontenot in at running back along with Darrell Thompson. Ball marked at the 2, 2nd and goal. And Keel looked to be a little confused on that play, and a loss of about a yard. Dan Owens, the rookie, out of USC, on the tackle.
That looks like they took that out of the playbook of the Oklahoma Sooners. Looked like they were trying to run an option play. Keel reversed out and looked like he was looking for somebody to pitch to. Watch Keel come away from the center here, reversing. This is going to be an option play. There was no fullback to fake it to, and his option had been taken away by William White. The safety 35 came upfield, and Keel had nowhere to go. Very, very unusual call by the Packers early in this game.
Loss on the play has the ball marked at the 3, 3rd and goal. No score. 4 wideouts in for the Pack. Keel, quarterback keeper draw. Touchdown, Green Bay. So Blair Keel picking up the touchdown run.
Let's look at if Blair Keel gets the ball across before the knee goes down. He's a fighter. Look at him going. Definitely, that's 6 points. Good call by the refs and an excellent call by Lindy and Fonte and the coaches from the Green Bay Packers.
Chris Jackie on for the point after. It's up and it's good. So the Packers take the first lead of the ball game on the quarterback draw by Blair Keel and lead it 7-0. Rushing touchdown this year, moving the Packers out in front by the score of 7-0 as we take a look at Chris Jackie set to kick off to the Lions. And it was a Lions turnover by Chris Oldham that set up the 33-yard drive for the score.
Detroit needs to get back here on the kickoff to that ball maintenance. When you get in the crowd, get both hands over the ball and protect it. It's harder and it's a lot slicker here in this cold weather.
And the wind just blew the ball off the tee. We'll see if, in fact, it happens a second time, in which case they will need a holder.
And who better to hold the ball on a kickoff than a wide receiver? Because you know the wide receivers won't be screaming down. They're going quite as crazy as everybody else.
And this one is high and short, heading in the direction of Mel Gray. Takes it from the 14. And Gray duking his way. Pushed out of bounds at the 30 by Tiger Green. Rodney Peete, quarterback for the Detroit Lions, coming off of an awfully impressive performance over the Chicago Bears. A victory indeed, and an offensive line that includes Lomas Brown, Pro Bowl selection this year. And a backfield, of course, the most dangerous. Barry Sanders, also a Pro Bowl selection this year. And 4 wideouts in the run-and-shoot offense. No tight ends, 1 back, designated the S-back, Barry Sanders. From the 31, 1st and 10. Jeff Campbell in motion. Peete to pass on 1st down. Going up top. Complete to Richard Johnson for the 1st down near the 31 of Green Bay.
And Green Bay came out early here in a 3-4 defense with the same philosophy, sort of like Chicago last week. We're going to stop the run. We're going to take Barry Sanders away from you. Rodney Peete, you beat us with the pass. And Rodney proves here on the first play, you better adjust your philosophy, Hank Fuller, defensive coordinator for Packers. You better do something a little different because he will pick you apart if you stay in a zone 3-4.
And Richard Johnson beat ex-Lion Jerry Holmes. 38-yard pass play. Ball at the 32 of the Packers. Barry Sanders, the ball carrier. And Sanders driving for 5 yards. Will bring up a 2nd and 5. And the Green Bay defense, Randy.
It's a base defense, and those guys up front, 2 gappers all. They just sort of stuff right at you. They're all very physical. The linebackers are led by Tim Harris. Sort of an off year, only 7 sacks this year for Harris. And in the secondary, Jerry Holmes, former Lions, got plenty of incentive playing in this game against his former teammates.
2nd and 5 from the 27. 9:03 remaining in the first quarter. Packers on top. 7-0. Peete with time. And it's incomplete or out of bounds. The receiver, Mike Farr, didn't have both feet in bounds.
And with this wind blowing, it's kind of a quartering wind, James. It's not coming straight through the tunnel. It's coming in a quartering factor. So Bob Galliano, the backup quarterback, said you'll see more passes going to this side of the field right here, which we see this one go to. See, the tips of the toes are out of bounds. They're just being dragged on the white paint.
Leroy Butler and Ron Pitts in as DBs for the Packers. 6 defensive backs. 3rd and 5. Peete looking for Clark. Incomplete. So Rodney Peete was trying to find Robert Clark, who was being defended by Leroy Butler, and it's incomplete.
And from where the ball is right here, it's a pretty good field goal in this kind of conditions. It'd be about a 43, 44-yard field goal. And Eddie Murray said the ball is really dead in warm-up. The ball is not moving that well.
Well, it looks like Wayne Fonts has decided to go for it on 4th and 5. Ball at the 27 of Green Bay. 8:46 remaining in the first quarter.
And the slot receivers are the keys here in the run and shoot in critical situations on passes.
Trips formation left. Peete decides to run it himself. Has the 1st down. And the touchdown. Detroit. A 26-yard scamper by Rodney Peete, and that's the dimension that Wayne Font says Rodney Peete, a healthy Rodney Peete, gives him, the running.
And Wayne Fonts and the Lions say, oh yeah, you can run a quarterback draw for a touchdown, so can we. Tim Harris gets manhandled on the nose right there by Kevin Glover, the center. And watch Tiger Green. He can't stay with Pete on this frozen field. Just a little shake and bake, and he loses a DB who falls on the frozen turf.
Eddie Murray on to attempt the point after for the Lions. And the 11th-year veteran out of Tulane ties the ball game at 7 apiece. 8:40 remaining in the first quarter, and we're all tied at 7. Lions have tied the score at 7 apiece. And Vince Workman from the 18. And Workman, good second effort, drives it ahead to the 35-yard line of Green Bay. So good field position for the Packers as they come out 1st and 10. That scoring drive for the Lions, 5 plays, 70 yards, a grand total of 1 minute and 57 seconds.
Now watch Tim Harris line up right here, and Sean Patterson. They get taken this way, and the lane opens wide open for Rodney Peete. Watch Glover on Harris in the middle. Nice block. Good job of steering Tim Harris. He slips a little on that frozen turf. Now look at Tiger Green. He's got no footing. Time for new shoes, Tiger.
1st and 10 for Green Bay out of the I formation. Ed West in motion. On the ground, the Packers stay, and Michael Kofer greeting rudely.
And yes, that is Wayne Fox you see right there. That is not a bank robber. Wayne is a man that has every possible piece of equipment in cold weather. He will not be denied. He will be warm.
Said he will be the warmest of the Lions on the sideline. A loss of 3 on the play will bring up a 2nd and 13. Darrell Thompson, the rookie, in for the Packers. Thompson, the lone back. Michael Haddis in motion. This is Thompson, the ball carrier, and Thompson, an explosive run up the middle. About a 7-yard run. We'll call it 9. Let's bring up a 3rd and 4 situation.
Good call by the Green Bay coaches. Watch this side of the Green Bay Packers line and what they do to what is really a pass rush defense for Detroit. Detroit's got their pass rushers in. They're thinking pass the entire way. And look at them mush those guys off the ball. Great job by the right side.
3rd and 4, ball on the 42.
And the rookie, who has been quiet, but continued to work hard, waiting for his opportunity. He's got one today.
That was Hallstrom and Mandarin. Nobody's ever said Tony Mandarin can't drive block.
3rd and 4. Keel, complete for the 1st down. So the Packers looking impressive as Blair Keel finds Charles Wilson, the rookie, out of Memphis State. 17-yard pass play.
It was a nice job by Wilson because he had to actually fall back on this frozen field and grab the ball that was thrown behind him. Got a little Vaseline on the face there to keep the cold off.
Randy, it can't be fun playing in this kind of weather.
Ah, this is great. This stuff's fantastic. I mean, you're only out here 3 hours. It's not like it's forced labor.
Well, we'll see if they feel the same way when it gets down to minus 40. 1st and 10, ball at the 47 of Detroit. On the ground again, and there's a flag on the play. Darrell Thompson running to the right.
A little holding against the Green Bay Packers. Will no doubt be accepted and pushed back.
Pat Haggerty, our official for today, seeming none too anxious to really do an awful lot of talking thus far.
I always wondered, how come officials don't have parkas? They always have to wear those black and white shirts. Those don't look very warm.
Holding, number 63, offense, still first down.
So that pushes the ball back to about the 47 of Green Bay. James Campen, the guilty party.
And Campen's got his hands full, figuratively and literally today, with Jerry Ball. He had a rough time last week with Reggie White. Reggie White kind of alternated, whipping up on Tony Mandrich and James Campen last week. Well, he gets Jerry Ball, a Pro Bowler, this week on his nose. Look at the guys keeping those feet warm.
1st and 20 for the Packers. Ball at their own 43. And slippery footing, as you saw Thompson trying to get started there, and a loss of 1 on the play.
On this type of field, the more frozen it gets, quicker hitting plays will be essential if you're going to run the ball. Getting back in the I formation and taking forever to get to the line isn't what you want to do. You want to hit quick, and you want to maximize the footing out there.
Jerry Ball took advantage of the slip by Darrell Thompson to make that tackle.
But Green Bay has the advantage right now. They're going from the right to the left. They're going with the wind right now. Now's the time to pass.
2nd and 21 from the 42. Michael Haddock still on back. 3 wideouts in for the Pack. Keel loses the ball, fumble, and it looks like Detroit has recovered. George Jameson, 4th-year linebacker out of Cincinnati, with the alert play, so the Lions return the favor as they recover the ball in Packer territory.
Well, Wayne Foss told us yesterday Woody Widenhofer has decided this defense is going to get more aggressive. And here's Jameson. Watch him for the fumble. But look at the guys that will be lined up here in the gap, making Blair Keel think. And he seems to lose control of the ball and lose track of it right there as he's dropping back. That ball is flicked. Look at Jameson jump on it. But I was saying Woody Widenhofer has decided that a more aggressive style of defense fits these Detroit Lions better. And they've played much better in the last couple of weeks since they've been attacking.
4:42 remaining in quarter number 1. Tie ball game at 7 apiece. Lions 1st and 10 from the 33 of the Pack. Pete to pass on 1st down with time. Going up top, looking for Johnson. And nearly intercepted as Jerry Holmes actually had the ball on the numbers. But an alert play by Richard Johnson to jar it loose.
Well, you know some guys are going to come free in the run and shoot. Mouse Davis says every down somebody's open. But if anybody on the Green Bay Packers knows the receivers from Detroit, it is Holmes. He knows where they like to run. He knows where they like to catch the ball. And here he is in perfect position to get between Rodney Peete and Richard Johnson. Richard Johnson, you got to admire him for being out here at all. He's been suffering with the flu the last couple of days and was so sick he couldn't come out of his room last night.
He and a few others, Benny Blades included. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Sanders, the ball carrier. And hit and driven out of bounds by Leroy Butler. So a gain of only 1 on the play. Good defensive play by the Packers.
And if you've seen the Detroit Lions play the last couple of weeks, you say, well, why didn't Barry Sanders make a move? Nobody's hit him like that the last couple of weeks in these big games they've played in. On this field, even Barry Sanders can't make the quick moves. You try to make the quick jolting moves, you'll fall down. This field's frozen.
Well, interestingly, the architects of the run and shoot, June Jones and Mouse Davis, think they will have a better chance with the passing game than the running game.
Passing and running game. It's a running game. It's wide open.
3rd and 9. Johnson in motion. Pete to pass. Off the fingertips of Richard Johnson. Incomplete. Had more than enough for the 1st down. Maybe just a little much zip on it.
Maybe a little too much zip, maybe a little frozen ball, but that's something the Detroit receivers have done all year long. They have dropped passes. Rodney Pete's statistics would be much better if it wasn't for his receivers. They've dropped an incredible amount of passes.
Jim Arnold's on to punt for the Lions. 8th-year player out of Vanderbilt.
And he's dropped from 2nd in the league to 10th in the league in about the last month. He's really had a hard time, and he's kicking into the wind.
Jeff Query back for the Packers. And Query decides to let it go. And the Lions unable to keep the ball in the field of play. So a good decision, as it turns out, by Jeff Query. Packers will open up at their own 20. Wisconsin.
Packer faithful sell out here, trying to urge on the Pack. All tied at 7 apiece with 3:33 remaining. The Packers took advantage of a Lions turnover fumble, and Blair Keel caps it with a 3-yard touchdown run. Rodney Peete comes right back, drives the team downfield, a 26-yard touchdown run, his 6th rushing touchdown of the season, and we're all tied at 7 apiece.
We saw those foot warmers. Those things can be dangerous when your feet are frozen because you don't even know your foot might be burning till you smell the leather of your shoes.
That's high. Thompson, the lone back in for the Packers. 1st and 10 from the 20. Thompson, the ball carrier. And greeted hard and dropped. No gain on the play. Jerry Ball, and that is a load to run into. Jerry Ball, Pro Bowl selection, 6'1", 298.
And 298, James, might be a little bit charitable. Watch him working right here. I believe he's right there. Watch him working over the right. I'm sorry, he's not on the nose guard. He's on Campen. Look at him. Sheds Campen, throws him off, drives Campen to the turf. Oof. That's a little power. 298 pounds.
You said charitable, huh?
Charitable? 298? It's like Bubba Paris being 298. Not since the 8th grade picnic either, Jerry.
2nd and 10. 3 wideouts in for the Packers. Keel to pass. Complete to Haddix. And Haddix up near the 24. 4-yard gain on the play. Will bring up a 3rd and 6. Well, one thing that Blair Keel said he was really going to enjoy about starting is that he's starting with the score 0-0.
That's a change. He's not in a hole and has to pass every single play. And he dumps this out. But what is it about cold weather sound better? Did you hear that hit?
Crunch.
I mean, whack. Watch this thing at the end. Watch Owens hitting Keel. Now that hurts. That's not roughing the passer, but you know the field is frozen when the quarterback goes down and then slides a couple yards.
3rd and 6. 4 wideouts in. Trips left for Green Bay. Keel. Complete for the 1st down. Up to about the 33-yard line. So Blair Keel looking sharp in the cold weather as he finds Charles Wilson. A 9-yard pass play from Keel to Wilson.
And Keel's getting a lot of confidence here early in the game, in not only himself but in his receivers, because he's putting these balls in some tough spots for them to catch. They're not exactly right in the breadbasket. A couple of them have been behind him, and Wilson's come up with 2 real tough catches.
2:07 left in the 1st quarter. Tie ball game 7 apiece. 1st and 10 for the Pack from their own 33. Kemp in motion. Keel with time. 1st down across midfield. Blair Keel 5 of 5 this time, finding Ed West. 20-yard pass play from Keel to West.
Keel wasn't the least bit nervous yesterday. In fact, he ran into our producer Bob Monsbach and director Kathy Barretto in the parking lot. Almost got hit by a sliding car. He says, hey, I'm not nervous. Even that can't rattle me. And here completes his 5th in a row to start the game. 2nd one to Ed West. I mean, I don't think Blair Keel's been in 5 for 5 since he played Navy.
Way back. We talked about tough situations. He came in against Seattle when the team was down 20-0, and Philadelphia when they were down 17-0. He says, let me start with an even slate. I'll do it. And he's doing it right now. Ball at the 46 of Detroit. Play action. Keel. Complete for yet another 1st down. West. Down to the 26. Chris Spielman on the stop. 20 yards picked up on that play.
Now some good improv here because they wanted to run a little boot. Now watch Woodside slip and fall down. So much for the play fake. Now Keel looks like he's resolved the fact, well, hey, there's nobody open. I better run. Now all of a sudden he spots West. Jamison falls down. So yeah, it's going to make for an interesting day with this field being in the condition it's in.
3 catches for 58 yards for Ed West. 1st and 10. Ball at the 25 of the Lions. Haddix. 8 yards on the play by Michael Haddix. And that will be the last play of the 1st quarter, and an impressive one as the Packers on the drive score all tied at 7 apiece. Packers ball at the 17 when we come back. Seven apiece. James Brown along with Randy Cross. And Randy, you wouldn't know that the field is that slippery by at least the overall action in the first quarter.
There's not but about a half of inch of real footing area on that field. The grass does not go down very deep. It's tundra underneath that stuff.
We're talking about underneath the field. Heating coils under the field were activated, of course, all week to try and keep the field in good condition.
You know, Billy Yard, the guard for the Green Bay Packers, number 67, told me before the game, I'm getting so tired of hearing about these heating coils. You know what that's for? So the field looks green before the game. By the time we get on it, it's frozen.
2nd and 2. Ball at the 18 of the Lions. Haddix, the ball carrier, trying to turn the corner. Nowhere to go. Good hit applied by William White and Benny Blaze.
Let's watch the entire right side of this Detroit Lions defense pursue. Spielman, Owens, Kofer, Jerry Ball. The play before this, Haddix went right up the field. He did not try to go laterally. Don't try to go sideways on this field, fellas. You're not going to get the footing. You got to go north and south.
A loss of 1 on a play brings up a 3rd and 3. Fontenot. And good enough for the first down as Fontenot with the run stopped by Benny Blaze.
Well, if it works the first time, why not go back to it until they stop it? And this time, instead of Sterling Sharp doing it, they're pulling the backside guard, Billy Yard, number 67, and he's leading Fontenot around. Detroit just overreacted to the right and couldn't quite recover back to the left in time. Once again, Benny Blaze making the tackle.
7 yards gained on the play, ball at the 11. Just underway here in the second quarter of action, all tied at 7 apiece. Thompson, the lone back, and the ball carrier. And Thompson running hard inside the 10.
And that's what the Packers need to do. The Packers need to run right at the goalpost. Don't go sideways towards the markers. Go towards the goalpost, north and south.
Thompson with 3 yards picked up on a play, ball marked at the 8. Randy, you mentioned also that while this is a passing offense, Lindy Infante is just looking for more confidence in a running back.
He hopes Thompson's the man. We mentioned earlier, he won't know that until next year in training camp when Thompson gets the chance to really show him what he can do.
2nd and 7. Drop in the backfield. Thompson, nowhere to go. Chris Spielman. You know, the one guy who seemed to be the most excited about playing this kind of weather, that man there, Chris Spielman, genuinely excited.
He was disappointed when he got drafted by the Detroit Lions because he has to play indoors. Here's an Ohio State Big Ten linebacker. He's used to playing outside in the snow. He's outside in the snow for spring football in college, and all of a sudden he's got to play under a bubble. He had a big smile on his face last night. He goes, yeah, this is great. This is great. The Chris is going to be 30 below. Oh, but this is great.
You know, he said they ought to outlaw domes. A loss of 6 on the play brings up a 3rd and 14. 4 wideouts in for the Packers. Keel. And Blair Keel with nowhere to run thanks to the alert read by Benny Blaze.
Well, Detroit is up early in this game. They're attacking, and they're showing Blair Keel an aggressive style of defense. It's the old fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You're not going to get Detroit Lions and Woody Widenhofer twice with a quarterback draw.
4th down. Field goal situation as Chris Jackie comes on. And Jackie to attempt a 32-yard field goal.
Into the wind.
And it's no good. Well, Chris Jackie now 21 of 26 on the season in field goals, all tied at 7. One playoff spot available, but if the season were to end today, the Cowboys would be in it playing the Bears. Philadelphia will be playing at Washington. Of course, Division races all settled there. But Randy, talking about today's game, Green Bay, a must victory against the Lions. They look a little uncharacteristic, mostly a passing team, Green Bay, but they're keeping it on the ground.
You've got to go to the short passing game in this kind of weather on a frozen field, James, and you got to run north and south. I keep saying that, but you got to run straight ahead. You can't run sideways, and that's what Green Bay is doing well right now. Now Detroit has the wind at their back. Now they can start using their offense and start throwing the ball.
First and 10, ball at the 20 for the Lions. Sanders. And there was a clear example of the kind of footing problems that this field is causing as Sanders was trying to shake and bake and got shook.
Let's take one more look at that missed field goal, give you an idea of what that quartering wind is that I was talking about. Now, from the lower angle, we can see everything. They're coming after it. They're not even close. Now, from the upper angle, watch the wind push this ball. It's coming from the right to the left. Look at that. It would have been good, but the wind pushed it all the way out, just outside the upright. And that wind is now at the Detroit Lions' back.
Only a yard gained on the play by Sanders brings up a 2nd and 9. Heat. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Perry Greer. And Greer covered by Mark Lee as well as Tiger Green.
These Detroit Lions have had a tough season, James. They started out at the beginning of the year. Everyone thought they were going to be a playoff team. They lost some tough games early. And head coach Wayne Font said no one has it been harder on than him. And he talked about his wife crying for him, talking about how tough it is, the decisions he had to make, and the season he's had. But I firmly believe this will be a winning team.
Pete 0 for his last 5 to pass again, and that one is batted down. 0 for his last 6 as Sean Patterson, big number 96, 6'4", 270, got a hand on it.
And here's big Sean Patterson right here, working at right defensive tackle. Watch what he does right at the very end, like all defensive linemen are taught to do from the first day. He's not going to get there. Get your hands up. Get in the passing lane. Get in the passing lane. He looked like he almost was the receiver.
Jim Arnold will attempt to do a better job punting this time. Back deep for the pack, Jeff Query. And this one is caught by the wind up at the height. Takes a Lion roll down to about the 41 of Green Bay. So it winds up being a 37-yard punt by Jim Arnold. Packers ball when we come back. Scoring guy indeed. Jim Nance and Billy Packer will be bringing that action. That'll be coming up after football today.
And something fairly unusual for Oklahoma fans, they're going to see a real good team early in the year playing at Oklahoma.
Ooh, Randy. First and 10 for Green Bay. Ball at its own 43. And Hacks running hard up near midfield. Call it an 8-yard run by Michael Haddix, 8th-year player out of Mississippi State.
You know, last couple of weeks, Tony Mandarich working right here at the right tackle position has had a very tough time with a lot of people. But Tony at Michigan State, and from then on, has always been a guy that can drive block. And look at him get a hold of Ferguson and just manhandle him and turn him around. That's what guys say about Tony Mandarich. You can't let him get surface. You can't get his body on you. If he does, you're dead.
Darrell Thompson, the tailback out of the I formation. He's the ball carrier. And he has the first down. Inside the 45. A 6-yard run by Darrell Thompson.
Well, we saw last play where Ferguson had a little trouble. He got too much of the body of Mandarich on him. He's got to discard him. He's got to get rid of him. Now let's rematch the matchup one more time. Here's our two guys. Does Ferguson get rid of him? Mandarich blasts into him. Look at Ferguson. Sheds him, throws him to the ground. And Spielman sort of trips him from behind, or he'd have made the tackle right there, but it was good hard running by Thompson.
Eagles tackler Mike Nolan didn't have any very flattering things to say about Tony Mandarich.
Well, that really wasn't quite nice in the paper. He said the toughest thing about playing against Green Bay was trying to figure out where Reggie White was going to throw Mandarich so he wouldn't trip on him.
First and 10. Thompson, the ball carrier again. Good second effort as Thompson gets down to the 41, a pickup of about 3. Bring up a 2nd and 7. Dan Owens and Chris Spielman in on the stop.
When you look at this Packer front line, just physically, you got to say these guys can run the ball. It's not a matter of they're not big enough. Look at Ron Hallstrom, one of the larger guards in captivity. Out of the Max Montoya mold. Another fellow, number 65. And these guys are 6'5", 310 pounds. But that wasn't a guard when I was in college. 6'5", 310.
Two tight end formation as you take a look at the huge disparity in time of possession. Jackie Harris in motion, and this is Haddix slipping and being dropped at the 40. Chris Spielman helping them. And you see Haddix really upset with the footing here. A gain of only 1 on the play.
And he should be unhappy. Blair Keel, who was standing behind him, really went crazy when he saw Haddix. Right now they know this is a big hole. This is a huge play. Look at that. You see anybody in the picture? Benny Blades had fallen down. There was nobody on the right side of the Detroit Lions defense. Haddix going to his left would have had at least 10 to 15 yards.
3rd and 6. 4 wideouts in for the Packers. Ball at the 40 of Detroit. 7:20 remaining in the first half. Ball game tied at 7 apiece. Keel to pass. Intended receiver was Sterling Sharp, but Keel had to get rid of it as the corner blitz was on. First incompletion of the day for Blair Keel.
You saw Blair Keel kind of adjust his neck back there, so check if all those vertebrae are in the right place. Now watch right here. Watch Blair Keel at the very end get hit right before he throws that mortar round up there for the receiver to run under.
So Don Bracken is on to punt for the Packers. And dangerous Mel Gray is back for the Lions. Gray from the 16. Turns the corner and driven out of bounds at the 31. And give the credit to Jerry Woods with a good hit. 24-yard punt, 14-yard return. Quarter, 7:01 remaining in the first half. And Rodney Peete has grown up around football. His father, of course, Willie Peete, the offensive backfield coach for the Green Bay Packers. Cute-looking pair there early on as Rodney, again, continuing to hang around football quite a bit, but with a bit more hair at the time than he has now, believe it or not. As Barry Sanders trying to find some footing and has it for the first down and more. Johnny Holland finally runs Barry Sanders out of bounds across midfield at about the 46. And Tiger Green is still down on the field for the Packers. A 25-yard run by Sanders.
Well, just about the time you say, hey, the field is frozen, you can't make quick cuts, never say never to Barry Sanders. Look at this guy go. This field is frozen. These guys, you cannot grab Barry Sanders in this kind of weather. You've got to go around the legs. Don't go for the jersey. That jersey is as cold as everything else.
The one running back who elicits more oohs and ahs from players and fans alike. And Tiger Green is being tended to. I was starting to talk about the Peete family. Let's get a bit more on that from our colleague, Leslie Visser.
James, it's stressful to be the mother of a player or the wife of a coach, and I'm here with Edna Peete, who is both. Edna, this can't be a typical day at the office for you.
No, it isn't. It is, I can't explain it. You know, I'm hoping that both teams win at, points in the game. I know I want the Packers to win today and Roddy to play great, so it's just hard, I'll forget and root for,
Well, you saw your son score against your husband, but the good news is they'll both be home for Christmas. Back to you, JB.
All right, Leslie, I'm surprised that she actually came out and said which team she wanted to win. Staying with the husband, huh? And Tiger Green gets off the field on his own power.
Let's take a look at Tiger Green right here, number 23. What you have to look for is at the very end. Now watch Tiger Green right there. Bam, gets stepped on that frozen field like we keep mentioning by Mark Murphy. Piles on top of him. Got the wind knocked out of him, stretching on the side.
On 1st and 10, and Sanders finally roped up and dropped by Burnell Dent. And will we see a flag on the play? No, we don't. 5 yards run forward by Barry Sanders.
It was funny talking to Barry Sanders last night. I said, Barry, what are you getting the most tired of? Everybody wants to ask you about the rushing title, and do you want the NFL rushing title? What bothers you the most? He looked me straight in the eye and says, yeah, that question. I'm getting sick of hearing that question. He says, I'm worried about the Lions. He showed that last year. Last year, he could have had the NFL rushing title, but came out of the game late in the game and said, hey, look, I don't want to run the game for confidence to win.
6 DBs in for the Packers on 2nd and 5. The option. Pete keeps it. First down. Inside the 30. And Mark Murphy drops him. Packers thought they had a loose ball, but it was down by contact.
You know, you hear the ball down by contact and the ground can't cause a fumble. Here's a fumble we got to give to the ground right here. Bam. That elbow hits that and the ball just rolls off the field.
And the coaching staff looking at Rodney Peete. 2 carries for 38 yards. One of the top 4 running quarterbacks in the league. 1st and 10, Detroit. Ball at the 29 of Green Bay. 5:08 remaining in the half. Peete with time. Complete to Campbell. Make that Aubrey Matthews. And Matthews down near the 20. 9-yard pickup on the play. 1 yard shy of the first down. I think the net effect of that is it's cold.
And thermometers cannot gauge wind chill.
Well, I tell you what, the fans will be able to. We're live here at Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin, a packed house, watching a tie ball game. And Barry Sanders scored his way and juke for the first down and inside the 5. Barry Sanders run out of bounds by Tiger Green, and there's a flag on the play back near the line of scrimmage. And you see the preliminary signal against the Lions.
And from the look, from his body language, Ken Dallafor, number 67, the right guard, is going slightly off on the officials, claiming I didn't do it.
Number 67, offense.
There's big Dallafor. He got accused of being kind of a cheap shot artist after that Monday night game where Rivera claimed I was kicked in the leg. Now here's Dallafor working right here. It's going to happen at the end of the play. Keep an eye on him, because this flag is thrown very, very, very... Ooh, body slam. If you're going to do it, you might as well earn it.
2nd and 11 for the Lions after that penalty. Peete looking for Clark and nearly intercepted. So Clark had gone inside, and Peete was thrown to the outside. A packed house, however cold it is here at Lambeau Field, watching the longest uninterrupted rivalry in the NFL continue. Packers and the Lions all tied at 7 apiece. Blair Keel, the 3rd-string quarterback with his first non-strike start, picked up the scoring first 3-yard run. Rodney Peete comes back on the next series for the Lions and caps off the drive with a 26-yard run to the score. 3rd and 11. 20 below with the wind chill. Complete to Clark. And Clark, a herd of tacklers led by Leroy Butler, down to about the 23. He was like 3 yards shy of what was needed for the first down. So that'll bring up a 4th down situation.
And Eddie Murray kicking this field goal will have to take into account the wind is blowing from his right to left in a quartering fashion. So it's kind of like a golf shot. He's going to want to draw this one. He's going to start it at the right upright and then draw it into the middle.
Eddie Murray will be attempting a 41-yard field goal, his longest of the season, 47. It's up. And it's no good. So Eddie Murray unable to connect and convert. And we stay knotted at 7.
It said start it here and let it end up here. Watch where Eddie Murray's field goal starts out and never has a chance due to the wind. He starts it out in the left third and the wind just pushes it well outside.
I think that says it about all.
Couldn't say it better myself. Hey, I was down on that field with Leslie Visser. We were down there for about 45 minutes before this ball game. It is some serious kind of cold. We're talking cold, cold, cold.
Well, right now it's down to a half degree with the wind chill minus 33. You wouldn't know it by looking at them. Sharp and Kemp, the receivers for the Packers. On 1st and 10, Keel has the pass deflected. And Tim Harris, linebacker for the Packers, number 97, headed to the locker room, groin pull. We'll check to see if we will see him later on in the game.
And Lawrence Pete, number 96 for Detroit, is in at nose guard because Jerry Ball left the game early with a little tweak.
Lawrence Pete just a little lighter at 282. 2nd and 10. Ball on the 23. Woodside and Haddix, the backs. Woodside, the tailback, out of the eye. Play action. Keel throws it complete. And Barry Kemp with the 6-yard pickup, 4 yards shy of the first down. Well, football action continues tomorrow, and of course, the last word before kickoff, the NFL today, and then doubleheader action will come your way after that. Dallas at Philadelphia. Heated rivalry. Emotions spilling over to the coaching sidelines. Tampa Bay at Chicago, and the Rams at Atlanta. And in the late game, the Saints, San Francisco Saints still in the playoff hunt, and the Giants at Phoenix. Joe Bugle's Cardinals looking to rebound from the spanking against the Cowboys. 4 wide receivers in for the Packers here. Blair Keel, impressive numbers in the first half. 3rd and 3, and Keel for the first down to Wilson. Just inside the 40 at about the 38-yard line. A 9-yard pass play as we head down to the 2-minute warning here in the first half. And Blair Keel, the 60-year player out of Notre Dame, looking impressive statistically. All tied at 7. On the playoff hunt, one last spot in the NFC. Packers must win this game against the Lions today to stay in contention. And of course, they will be hoping that Dallas will be losing 2 and the Saints to lose 1 in order to get in if the Packers win their remaining 2. All tied at 7 apiece. You take a look at Lindy Infante and Blair Keel. Lindy Infante was actually hoping that it might snow today so that he could coach in his first game here in Green Bay in the snow, but I think he prefers a clear field of vision with the job his third string quarterback is doing.
And Green Bay has 2 timeouts. They need at least 40 yards. Remember, Detroit is a bend but don't break defense. They can gain yards in 2-minute situations.
1st and 10, 4 wideouts for the Packers. And complete for the first down as Keel finds his favorite receiver in the game today, Charles Wilson. Ball marked at the 49 of Detroit with 1:46 remaining.
Green Bay will be moving into their hurry-up offense, but right here, we'll catch this play. Blair Keel gets the first 11 or 12 yards of that 40 he needs for that to get into field goal range down by the 20.
Back to live action as Keel was going in the direction of Charles Wilson again. Wilson defended by Ray Crockett.
You know, in normal circumstances with Chris Jackie kicking for the Green Bay Packers, you'd say get the ball to the 30-yard line. Anywhere from 47 or so, Chris Jackie can kick a ball at the end of the half. Under these conditions, it's optimistic to say let's get it to the 20-yard line and see if you can make a 37-yard field goal with this wind blowing. So the Packers have to get at least to the 20-yard line.
I'm sure Lindy Infante knows that. 2nd and 10. 4 wideouts. Keel out of the shotgun. Handoff to Fontenot. And Fontenot with the first down. And more. Herman Fontenot down to the 32, stopped by William White. 18 yards picked up on that play. And there's a timeout on the field. Green Bay burns off one and has one remaining.
No. Nice block. Well-designed play by Green Bay. Completely caught Detroit off guard and dropping, expecting the pass.
One timeout remaining for the Packers. Full complement of 3 for the Lions. 1:21 remaining in the first half. First and 10 Pack at the 31 of Detroit. Keel with time. Throws it incomplete in the direction of Jeff Query. You know, Rand, it's kind of interesting how quarterbacks all have their favorite receivers. Charles Wilson came into the game today with only 1 catch on the year. He's got 4 for 42 yards.
Well, a new quarterback is a new opportunity for everybody on the offense, not only just the wide receivers. The running backs, everybody's got a chance to impress their leader. And every time a quarterback comes in, whether he's the first, second, third, fourth string guy, it's a fresh shot.
Second and 10, and the Packers trying to get a shot at the end zone. 1:16 remaining in the first half. Fontenot, the lone back. And Keel throws it complete to Fontenot for yet another first down. Pushed out of bounds at the 17 by George Jamison. And the clock ticking.
And another point to remember about these backup guys that are being a real factor in this game, James, these are the guys Blair Keel's used to throwing to in practice on the scout team.
Intended receiver again, Charles Wilson, incomplete. Ray Crockett defended. The Packers certainly in good territory now if they have to go for a field goal.
Now, weather like this is always good for, remember the fractured flickers you see in football? Watch Wilson. That's frozen mud right there. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
No way you can look smooth.
That was an attempted double SoCal, but did not quite pull it off.
Second and 10 from the 17 of Detroit. Tie ball game, 7 apiece. Query in motion. And Keel throws it complete to Query. And Query run out of bounds just inside the 10. 7 yards picked up. 3 yards shy of what's needed for the first down. Chris Oldham pushing them out of bounds.
Very impressed by the composure and the cool of this Green Bay Packers offense right now, led by Blair Keel. They're in no hurry, they're in no rush, and they're just methodically moving this ball down. Now they can think touchdown. They're almost assured of a field goal, or as assured as a field goal you're going to get today in this wind and this weather.
11 of 16, 132 yards on the half for Blair Keel. 3rd and 3. Inside handoff to Fontenot, who goes nowhere, dropped in the backfield. Pick a number.
It was just too soon. They ran that play 2 or 3 plays ago, and it worked really well. Big hole opened up. Campen had a great block back. We telestrated that one. They come back with the same play 3 plays later, and they're not buying. They're not biting.
Loss of 5 on the play as you take a look at Chris Jackie, who had a few words showing his disgust at not being selected as a Pro Bowler this year. Thought he had a good year and said, hey, how in the world can you even vote for somebody who kicks in a dome?
And they run the clock down here. They'll just take their crack at the field goal and take their last time out.
Well, 3 seconds remaining, and Jackie will get his opportunity to come on to attempt the field goal.
Well, no, Chris Jackie, you were mentioning about him knocking Morton Anderson's selection to the Pro Bowl. You know, Morton Anderson will be remembered as one of the all-time greats when he's done playing. I think Chris Jackie should just sort of shut up, prove he's a good kicker before he worries about who's going to Hawaii in February.
And do it over time. This is a 37-yard field goal attempt. And this is no good. So Chris Jackie not having any success. And the score stays tied at 7 apiece. So halftime here in Green Bay, Wisconsin at Lambeau Field. We've got it all knotted at 7 apiece. One excellent Packer from the Washington, D.C. area, Willie Wood, and a ton of others. If you look at the sites of Green Bay, Wisconsin, all tied at 7 apiece.
And this town still touts itself as Title Town USA, James. You get a chill just being in here. You think about Lombardi and Starr and Horning and all those guys.
And, well, Randy, we know from what we heard at halftime how cold it is down on the field. Wind chill now minus 36, but interesting what happened to the band at halftime.
They had a special Christmas halftime show all ready to go here in Green Bay. PA announcer came on and said, ladies and gentlemen, due to the fact that the instruments have frozen in the band will lead you in Jingle Bells. So they had a challenge, one side of the field against the other, singing Jingle Bells. That was the halftime show.
The only instruments working were the drums. Rodney Peete will try to get his arm working a little better here in the second half. You saw the numbers, 3 of 10, and that coming off of last week, 18 of 27 for a career-high 316 yards and also a career-high 4 touchdowns against the Bears. And he's trying to find the mark.
Green Bay will get the ball back and probably pick up right where they left off in that last drive. They're moving the same way from left to right into the wind. They threw most of their passes to the right so they wouldn't have to fight that wind that's quartering in from their left, and they ran the ball. We saw a shot earlier, Tony Mandarich. He's going to be extremely important in this second half. Every Packer offensive lineman is going to have to be in there and digging down low, trying to keep this running game going.
Eddie Murray would certainly like to make amends for the last outing against these Packers, a game in which he missed 4 field goals. Keep in mind he was struggling with some hip problems then and went on injury reserve after that. And this one is caught in the wind, high and short from the 25. Thompson heading for pay dirt. Touchdown, Green Bay. A 76-yard kickoff return for the touchdown by rookie Darrell Thompson.
And that's an offensive player's dream, James. That is the perfect scoring drive for an offensive player. Let the returner take it back.
Jackie with the point after. And it's good. Packers move out in front by the score of 14-7.
Special teams is a lot like the passing game in offense. It's a lot timing. So the timing gets thrown off when something like this happens. How often is it you see this happen? It seems like guys kind of relax. Look at the Detroit players standing up and stopping, coming to a stop. Thompson's going full speed ahead with a little hesitation initially, and he just does a sprint to the goal line, and no one can even get near him. You talk about that timing. It's so important for those coverage guys. They figure, I've got 20 yards to get to the guy. I've got 15 yards to get to the guy. Oh, my God, I've run by him. There's nobody I can get him. And Eddie Murray is not going to catch Thompson. Sorry. Now look at Thompson. He slides a little bit. He looks back. Any flag?
And just to think, Darrell Thompson had 1.
See, on a hot day, guys go to the sideline and they get oxygen. On a cold day, they stuff a towel in their face to try to get their lips warm.
What a way to start the second half. That was the first kickoff return for a touchdown since 1984 by the Packers. Lions from the 19, Jeff Campbell. And Campbell trying to return the favor. And knocked out of bounds by the kicker, Chris Jackie. Ball be marked at about the 43, a 38-yard return by Jeff Campbell. So the Lions will start with excellent field position.
And both these kickers are putting these kickoffs high and short. They're landing like the 25-yard line or so. Look at Campbell. He takes this one on the 20. It opens up clean on the left. It was not designed that way. Even if they tell you it was, it wasn't. Dennis McKnight, 62, gets a nice block. And Chris Jackie does a fine effort. Look at Jackie. Picture book. Wraps his arms, drives him out of bounds. And that was a kicker, folks.
You don't think too highly of kickers, do you?
First and 10 for Pete. Caught and then dropped. And Robert Clark was right near the first down marker. It'll be 2nd and 10. Ball at the 43 of Green Bay. Just underway here in the second half. James Brown along with Randy Cross. And these teams opening up the second half the way they started the game out. Well, Randy, you mentioned before that Mouse Davis really doesn't mind seeing a touchdown scored by the opposition.
Well, Mouse Davis' philosophy is score a quick touchdown, we get the ball back faster.
And let's see if they can do likewise as Barry Sanders is driven back by Burnell Dent after a pickup of 3 on the play. Will bring up a 3rd and 7 situation. Barry Sanders carried only 5 times in the first half for 38 yards.
And Wayne Fonts and his Detroit Lions need to get a little something going here to stem this emotional tide that the Packers have going. The receivers from Detroit here on 3rd down have got to concentrate on the ball. Don't worry about the defensive backs. Don't worry about the hit. Look that ball all the way in and tuck it away.
They'll call it 3rd and 6. Ball at the 39 of Green Bay. Pete looking for Clark, has it complete. And that's enough for the first down. Leroy Butler on the coverage, 8-yard pass play.
That was a good job by Clark of doing exactly what we had talked about, concentrating on a low throw all the way into his hands and getting exactly enough yardage to get that first down. You know, Detroit's emphasis for the next 2 weeks you have to think about is next year. They are out of the playoff picture. They're not going to go to the playoffs. And they're a team that's concentrating now on setting up the winning attitude for early next season.
Fox says no one is thrown in the towel. Sanders. And Sanders inside the 15 will make that the 25 to about the 24. Tony Bennett on the stop.
Tony Bennett, a gentleman that Lindy Infante refers to as a guy that's 1 year away. He's tough now. He's learning to play NFL football. He says, give this guy another year and he'll be a real factor in the NFL from that outside linebacker position.
7 carries for 49 yards on the day for Barry Sanders. 2nd and 3. Ball at the 25. This is Sanders. First down. And Barry Sanders taking it down to the 12. Stopped by Leroy Butler. Boy, talk about spring in the legs.
Well, he's got the strong legs, just like Emmitt Smith, who you saw in the halftime with NFL Today. Watch Barry Sanders drive. Ken Dallafor, the right guard, number 67, gets a fine block on Mark Murphy, the safety, upfilling. But Barry Sanders is a guy, you never see him brought down by one person. He gets a whole gang of people jumping on him.
8 carries for 61 yards. 1st and 10. Ball at the 12 of Green Bay. Sanders. Loose ball, fumble. Green Bay recovered. This is Tim Harris.
An audible late. Pete just got this play off. Bennett gets around Sanders' arms, and as he throws him to the turf, seems to strip the ball out. And here goes Crazy Legs Harris running for 6. And this crowd loves number 97. He loves to get him fired up. big Tim Harris as we're scoring now at Green Bay 14-7 over Detroit. Harris just recovered that fumble and rumbled down the field.
You called him crazy legs on the run. He's got a groin injury, but I'm not sure he would have looked much better if he were healthy. 1st and 10 for the Packers. Ball at their own 35. Kemp in motion. Play action. Keel rolling right and throws it complete. As Ed West picks up a grand total of 1 yard on the play.
Now the thing to watch here is from this side of the screen, you're going to see Tiger Green, number 23, is going to come in right at the very end of the play. As Bennett wraps his arms around him, Tiger Green hits Barry Sanders right there. See 23 zap him in the back. That knocked the ball loose, knocked it right into Tim Harris's lap, and Harris took off from there. There's a big guy drawing 2 or 3 guys at a time each play to block.
On 2nd and 9, Keel back to pass. Complete to Ed West for the 1st down. He's across midfield. And West booming his way to the 42. Benny Blades on the stop. A 22-yard pickup. Keel to West.
Now here's Ed West lining up right over here. Keep an eye on him as the entire line for Detroit heads this way, gets sucked up by Blair Keel's action, and Ed West will come underneath right behind the umpire, wide open, right there. Look at that. The closest thing to him is that big G in the middle of the field, and Benny Blades isn't taking any chances. He'd rather take a hit and be sure he makes that tackle.
5 catches for 81 yards. His nickname is Toolbox. Not kind of the flattering nickname you would want to hear like Hassan Jones, who's nicknamed Palmolive Hands. Hassan Jones, of course, of the Minnesota Vikings. Keel back to pass on 1st and 10. Incomplete, intended receiver, Sterling Sharp.
And that ball was thrown away by Blair Keel. It was a good job by him. He got good protection, and the coverage was all over his people. He had nowhere to go with that ball. To Sterling Sharp, look at that. Sterling Sharp is wearing sleeves. He told us Friday, there's no way, or those wristbands on his biceps. He says, there's no way. I won't wear anything on my arms. I wouldn't stoop to that.
Well, I know one thing he'd like to have on his arms today, and that's a catch. He has none on the afternoon. 2nd and 10. And I guess Blair Keel might have seen it as well, as he calls for a timeout. So Green Bay blows off 1 timeout, left with 2. A 7-point Packer lead.
Very special section. I'm with Mel and Leonie Kanoki, who've been season ticket holders since 1927. Mel, in those 63 years, what was your most memorable game?
Well, I guess this is pretty good the way it's going, but we've seen a lot of them through the years. The 3 championships in a row, 29, 30, and 31 were super.
Mrs. Kanoki, have you become a real football fan? I have. Well, they've taken more than 200 people here over those 63 years. They've seen everyone from Curly Lambeau to Vince Lombardi, Paul Hornung. They were here for the Ice Bowl in '67, and they plan on coming for the next, how many years more?
Well, at least another dozen.
Well, you missed only...
We're only in our mid-80s, so we got another dozen years to go.
Great. Well, we hope we see you soon. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Back to you, JB.
All right, Leslie, I love the attitude. Talking about staying young mentally, we're only in our mid-80s. And I'm sure the players wish that might be the temperature today. Instead, minus 33 wind chill. 3rd and 10 situation for the Packers. Ball at the 42 of Detroit. 9:52 remaining in the 3rd. Packers on top by 7. Incomplete, intended receiver Sterling Sharp. And boy, has William White been putting some pressure on Blair Keel this afternoon.
They're showing this a lot today, either from the middle or from the outside. They're bringing the safety blitz from the outside. They're bringing the linebackers from the inside in the A gaps next to the centers, putting a lot of pressure on Blair Keel. But that ball right there was a little high, but Sterling Sharp should have caught it. But maybe in the back of his mind, he's stretched out like that with those bad ribs. He's thinking about, am I taking a shot? Is it going to hurt the ribs?
Mel Gray second leading punt returner in the NFC as Chris Jackie make that racket about the punt. And away from Gray. So the Lions will bring it out to their own 20, trailing by 7. From the 20. Nearly intercepted. Rodney Pete's pass batted down by Robert Brown, 9th-year veteran out of Virginia Tech at 6'3", 270.
And Big Tim Harris almost came up with another big play because he almost caught that ball. And he's telling the official about it. But let's take a look right here. Here's Brown. Here's Harris. Let's watch him on this play and see how they do this. Watch Tim Harris almost get himself a pick. Brown knocks it in the air. Now look at Harris. He's thinking 6. He's thinking I dropped it.
2nd and 10 from the 20. Sanders, first down, +4. So Barry Sanders on the short screen from Rodney Pete picks up 14 yards on the play. And we talked about the doubleheader slate coming your way tomorrow. It all gets started, of course, at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL Today. And boy, do our group of people get in the spirit of things.
We gave them a bad time at Halloween, but we figured, hey, it's a Christmas season. Look at those 4. Now, you can obviously tell who's with us. The beautiful Leslie Visser's with us. We were nice to Leslie. We just put a little Santa Claus hat on.
Pat O'Brien won't appreciate being overlooked like that.
I know. I don't think his ears are that big.
1st and 10 from the 34. Pete complete to Farr. And Farr out of bounds at about the 41. 8-yard pass play will bring up 2 yards needed for the first down.
And Detroit needs to take advantage of having the ball going this way on the field now in this 3rd quarter. They're with the wind. The wind is still blowing. It's going to get nothing but windier and colder. If you're going to throw the ball, you better do it when you got the ball going this way.
Second and 2 from the 41. Campbell in motion. Sanders, the ball carrier. And Sanders driving hard for the first down. So Barry Sanders, despite the 5'8" frame, powerful legs pushing ahead, and there's a late flag on the play. The official signaling first down for Detroit.
I think that was just a piece of yellow paper or something. It wasn't really a flag. Fooled us all. I thought it was something down in the interior line for a little holding pen.
First and 10, ball at the 45. Pete going for the home run. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Terry Greer.
And this Green Bay defense so far has been very effective against the pass offense of the Detroit Lions. Look at that. They're getting right in his face. They've got 5 quarterback hurries. The important stat right there against this offense is passes defense. Both those passes defense more than likely are plays that would have been big plays that were knocked down in the case of Robert Brown, or that were knocked down just before they got to the receiver. The credit for a good defensive performance goes to Hank Bullock, the defensive coordinator for the Packers.
Second and 10 from the 45. To Sanders. First down. And more. Barry Sanders, second effort, carrying him inside the 35 to the 34 of Green Bay.
If there's one difference that stands out between the Barry Sanders and Detroit Lions of 1989 and the Lions of 1990, it's just one little play right here, this little dump screen and getting Barry Sanders involved in the passing offense. His linemen have adapted better to getting downfield and blocking for him, and Barry Sanders improves week to week, according to Wayne Fonts, and how he adjusts to running patterns. They say it's unusual, but Barry Sanders doesn't run well without the ball.
6:40 remaining in the third. Lions trailing by 7. First and 10 from the 34 of Green Bay. And complete to Aubrey Matthews for yet another first down. Driven out of bounds at about the 23 by Ron Pitts.
Well, just about the time we're complimenting the Green Bay defense, Detroit promptly starts moving the ball down the field.
And Rodney Peete doing a much better job here in the second half. Rodney was kind of anxious to find out how he would play here in the cold, and certainly the first half was not impressive at all. Much better here in the second half.
And that's not Rodney Peete right there. There's Eddie Murray on the sideline, all bundled up as a kicker should be.
First and 10 from the 23 of the Packers. 6:12 remaining in the third. Peete dump off to Sanders. First down. And Sanders still on his feet. Down to the 5. So Barry Sanders, the elusive one, 18 yards picked up on the play. And the Lions are at the 5 of Green Bay.
Same play we saw go to the left. Detroit will now run this over to the right. But there are players around Barry Sanders. Look at, there's defenders there. There's people around him. They just don't tackle him. It's almost like he gets invisible. Tim Green can't bring him down. Tiger Green can't hit him and bring him down. Finally, Burnell Dent and a guest of others do it.
First and goal from the 5. And Sanders picks up 2 on a play. Will bring up a second and goal. And the ball is marked at the 4, so a pickup of 1.
You know, a lot of so-called football experts have talked about, you know, the run and shoot's a fine offense, but inside the 20, they don't score very well. They don't get in there very often. You're looking at a team that is the second best in the NFL at scoring touchdowns inside the 20-yard line.
Second and goal from the 4. Peete to Clark, incomplete. Guarded by Leroy Butler, who thought he had a shot at it.
Got one coming at us here. Low end zone pass right at Robert Clark. Let's see if it looks like he had as good a chance as I thought he had of catching this ball. Right at the end. Right? Oh, yeah. Butler got his arms flailing around and might have distracted him, but it sure seemed like Robert Clark should have had that ball.
Third and goal from the 4. And Peete has to get rid of it as Tiger Green with the safety blitz. Will bring up a 4th down situation as the Packers defense responding to the challenge.
Both defenses, here's Tiger Green, number 23, coming right at you, coming after Rodney Peete. Both defenses are showing blitz, and they're giving blitz. Rodney Peete doesn't have a chance to do anything but drive this ball off. That's the kind of landing a quarterback can take. You saw Rodney Peete. Watch him land on his shoulder right there. That's the kind of thing that can hurt a shoulder, break a collarbone.
A 22-yard field goal attempt by Eddie Murray. It's up, and it's good. So the Lions, instead of 7, have to settle for 3 as they cut into that Packer lead. 14-10, Packers on top. Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and the Packers on top of the Lions 14-10. That last scoring drive by the Lions, 12 plays covering 76 yards and a 22-yard field goal by Eddie Murray. And the wind that Randy has been talking about all game, playing havoc with the ball on the tee. So Ray Crockett will hold. Let's take a look at Lindy Infante, head coach of the Packers. And a poor kick by Murray, picked up at the 13 by Wilson. And Wilson, with plenty of room, across the 45 to about the 47, stopped by Darren Carrington. After football today, it'll be college basketball, the season premiere here on CBS. Duke at Oklahoma. The 9th-ranked Blue Devils and Coach Mike Krzyzewski will be facing the explosive Sooners, who feature Brent Price. Just 1 week ago, Price hit for 56 points from all distances, including 11 three-pointers as Oklahoma blasted Loyola Marymount. Today, it's the Blue Devils trying to shut down the Sooners. Next here on CBS, Jim Nantz and Billy Packer will bring you the action. First and 10 for the Packers. Ball at their own 47. 4:25 remaining in the third. And Haddix running for the first down. A flag on the play as Haddix takes it down to about the 42.
Got a defensive hold in the interior of that defensive line for Detroit. They're not very happy about it. You usually don't see that except for on a pass stunt. Defensive lineman will grab an offensive lineman and they'll call defensive holding.
Yeah, Randy, you're right. The referees, the officials definitely ought to have some Parkers, down jackets or something.
Fouling, number 96, defense. 5 yards, penalty, if anyone, first down.
That's Lawrence Pete.
Here's Lawrence Pete working right here against James Camp in the center, number 63 for Green Bay. Let's see what he does. Okay, look what happens. You see Billy Ard, the left guard, was coming down, blocking on the nose guard. Well, the nose guard, as the center was trying to get off for the linebacker, when that nose guard grabs the center and doesn't let him off, that's defensive holding.
Ball marked at the 37 of the Lions now. 4 minutes remaining in the third. Packers on top by 4. Darrell Thompson trying to turn the corner and does, and run out of bounds at the 30. 7 yards picked up on a play by Darrell Thompson. First quarter scoring, Blair Keel of the Packers, 3-yard run. Rodney Peete answers right back for the Lions, capping the drive with a 26-yard run. And then the Packers come back in the third quarter. Darrell Thompson, a 76-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and Eddie Murray has to settle for a 22-yard field goal for the Lions. That accounts for the scoring. Packers on top, 14-10.
And we're informed Jerry Ball won't be returning. It was kicked in the ankle and won't come back today. That's why Lawrence Pete is on the nose, number 96.
That bad ankle at that. 2nd and 3. Keel to West. And West juking and shaking the big fella for the first down. Down near the 20. Ray Crockett and Chris Spielman bring him down. 6 catches for 91 yards on the afternoon for Ed West.
Now watch everything go away here. Ed West is coming in motion. Kofor comes upfield, but he gets caught too far upfield to be any factor. And Ed West is wide open. Then it's a matter of getting a little help out there. But watch everything go this way, and now watch Ed West. Ed West went out of the screen. Blair Keel went away. Hey, get lonesome out there all by yourself.
And there's a timeout on the field as Green Bay burns off another timeout. Will leave them with 1.
Seems to be a little confusion on the field on the part of Blair Keel.
2:39 remaining in the third quarter.
But Keel to this point is 14 of 22 for 165 yards.
I'd say it's a pretty good day. On Christmas Day, CBS Sports unwraps Olympic Winterfest. Countdown to Albertville. This special holiday edition presents the U.S. Open Professional Figure Skating Championships, featuring Scott Hamilton and an exhibition by 2-time Olympic gold medal winner Katarina Witt. That's Christmas Day at 3 o'clock Eastern Time right here on CBS.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Green Bay Packers, and the National Football League is prohibited.
First and 10 for the Packers. Ball at the 20 of Detroit. Workman and Haddix. In for the Packers. And this is Thompson.
The Green Bay Packers are concentrating on that right side. They're obviously very happy with the work they're getting right now out of their big tight end, Ed West, who they're throwing to, and has always been known as a good blocker. But Tony Mandarich and Hallstrom, number 65, seem to be really pounding at that side of the Detroit defense. And this is Tony Manderson's kind of a game. I mean, this isn't 80 degrees in Miami and the guy next to you, across from you, is 215 pounds rushing the passer every down. This is good old freezing your fingers off type of football, smashing people in the face.
Not just the fingers. On second down, Keel throws it incomplete, threw it over the head of Ed West, but short of Perry Kim.
And generally in no one's area. He threw that one away. There was nobody a threat to get near that. The nearest person to that had a striped shirt on.
Well, Detroit has improved in terms of total offense from the first half, all knotted up at 240. Lindy Infante, quite candid in saying that he wants this to be his last. As a matter of fact, he was emphatic in saying this is his last coaching stop. Wants to be here for a while, but this is it.
He's mentioned a lot of articles and a lot of quotes about that World League. He says, I have no intention of doing anything in the World League or the NFL.
Keel to Query. And Query slips out of bounds at about the 8. But enough for the first down. A 12-yard pass play from Keel to Query. And Jeff Query, probably the best athlete on this team, certainly the fastest, as acknowledged by all the players.
Well, Jeff Query is a receiver who really uses his speed to his advantage. You saw him come across the screen there in motion. Keel uses that clear-out pattern in front of Query, which opens him up and leaves him wide open. But look at that icy condition. Speed is not always a positive. Big, heavy guys get better traction on this kind of a slippery surface. Little guys skitter out. Their feet move. Big guys lower to the ground.
Thompson, the lone back, on first and goal from the 8. This is Thompson. And Thompson goes ahead for no gain. As the clock continues to wind down near the 1-minute mark, left in the third quarter. Packers on top, 14-10.
And the Packers will be going with their 4 wide receivers offense here on this next play.
Second and 8. Second and 8.
They've also got 2 tight ends in here. West and Jackie Harris. Second and goal. Keel looking for West, incomplete off the fingertips and West, as Herb Welch was there on the coverage.
You know, people talk about the drive blocking of Tony Manderson. We mentioned he's doing pretty well. Now here's a pass block. Watch the big fella here working against Ferguson. Want to see how strong Tony Manderson is? He and Hallstrom gives Spielman a little ride on that play. Play action. Offensive linemen love blocking on play action. You can commit and you can pound on people in play action passing.
4 wideouts in for the Pack. Third and goal from the 8. 23 seconds remaining in the third. Keel. Blair Keel throws it away to escape a little trouble. And that'll bring on the field goal attempt by Chris Jackie.
Now on a short field goal like this, the critical thing for the Green Bay Packers will be the snap by Blair Bush, the veteran center, number 51. Got to get a good snap and a quick placement to allow Jackie to get this one up quickly.
Holding is Don Bracken. This will be a 25-yard field goal attempt by Chris Jackie. And this one is good. So the Packers expand their lead back to 7 over the Lions on that field goal by Chris Jackie, leading it 17-10 with 12 seconds remaining in the third. Well, Randy, we've talked a lot about the NFC playoff picture. Over in the AFC, things are really still up in the air there with 1 week to go.
Now, 2 of these divisions are pretty much, or all 3 of these divisions are really still up for grabs. The Raiders, the Houston Oilers, the Buffalo Bills are on top of these things only in name because the guys behind them, who now we're going to listen to wild card race, are breathing down their necks in the cases of Miami in the East, Kansas City in the West. And it seems like everybody in the Central Division is always in the playoff picture. And we had Seattle and Indianapolis.
So with the division races still open in the AFC, that essentially leaves 6 teams fighting for 3 wild card positions over there.
And what really strikes me this year, people want to talk about the NFC's dominance over the AFC. You look at those records of the teams on the AFC side, you compare them side to side by the teams that are competing for wild card spots right now. In the NFC, a little disparity there. The records are a little bit better now on the AFC, in my opinion. I think the AFC is back, and they're ready to challenge with teams like the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Raiders against physical, quote-unquote, NFC teams.
I know we're talking with you about possible Super Bowl representatives from the AFC and some strong squads there in the Raiders, Kansas City, Buffalo. Don Shula has his team playing well.
Kansas City's my sentimental pick. I like Steve DeBerg, and I like the way he can lead that team.
Jackie's kickoff. Picked up at the 12 by Mel Gray. And Gray takes it up to the 30. Stopped by Leroy Butler. Football action coming your way tomorrow, and it all gets started, of course, with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern time, and then you'll see doubleheader action here on CBS. The Cowboys at Philadelphia. Buddy Ryan, Jimmy Johnson going at it. Words in the papers and with the press. Tampa Bay at Chicago. L.A. Rams at Atlanta. Game 2, Saints and 49ers, Giants, and the Cardinals.
It always kills me when coaches create rivalries. I haven't seen a coach hit anybody yet. I haven't even seen a coach hit each other.
Yeah, that might happen in Philadelphia. 2 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Pete on the last play of the third and has this one batted down. 3 deflected passes of Pete's by the line, and that's the end of the third quarter with the score Packers on top by 7. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Rural Middle America, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Lambeau Field. Wintry conditions indeed prevail. Good football action on the inside. Packers on top 17-10 as we start the fourth quarter. James Brown along with Randy Cross and Rodney Peete dumping off to Sanders, who goes nowhere as he's greeted by Mark Hall. A loss of 4 on the play.
It's about the fourth or fifth time that the Detroit Lions have tried this little dump-off screen. Barry Sanders coming out here pretending to be blocking on Bennett, number 90. Nobody's buying that. Hall, number 72, sniffs it out, as does Harris from the outside linebacker position. And gives him Harris a set of pom-poms. He wants to lead this crowd.
3rd and 14 from the 26. Peete going for Campbell, complete for the first down. Across midfield to about the 45, and Campbell gets up running and was not touched. So Shades, well, this play certainly will be reviewed, but shades of the mistake that Detroit made against the Raiders.
But let's watch the referee on the official on the sideline. Watch him mark the ball down at approximately the 42-yard line. It looks like he is marked down right there. Very tentative move right there by the official. Tiger Green misses him. Lee misses him. And he finally slides out of bounds. One more time. Let's look at Tiger Green. Does Green Bay get contact on Campbell, right? Lee touches him. He is down on about the 43-yard line.
Well, if they do review it, that's very conclusive evidence, so we'll call that one a 31-yard pickup.
And we've heard very little today from Tim Harris as a pass rusher, getting pressure and getting into Rodney Peete's face. And I think a lot of that has to go to Lomas Brown. Lomas Brown, the Pro Bowler, is having a fine day. One more time, we'll see Lee right here. Push him down to the ground, pushes Campbell down. That's where he's marked. From the end zone, you never know he really got a shot on him and touched him. But from the sideline angle, it's very easy to figure out. He hits him and pushes him down. As here in Green Bay, they've got the lyrical Jeopardy theme playing to the crowd as they chant along.
After further review, the play stands as ruled.
And that was a pretty quick review. 2-minute limit. That review took only 45 seconds. So the ball is marked at the 43 of Green Bay. 1st and 10 for the Lions. And I'm sure a lot of the old-timers watching the game today say, yeah, this is what football is all about, the black and blue division of the old days.
So Lee gets another tackle on the defensive charge.
Sanders. 1st down. Down to the 31-yard line. Barry Sanders running effectively no matter the conditions. 12 yards picked up on the play. Sanders, 12 carries for 81 yards on the afternoon.
We mentioned earlier today what June Jones had told us last night about the run offense. He says the field's a little frozen. It spreads them out and gives Barry Sanders more room to move and more room to kind of, I guess, squirt would be the best way to describe his running style. He kind of squirts to the right, and then he squirts to the left.
You think he's got a TV inside there? Or does he care? 1st and 10 from the 31. Sanders spinning his way for about another 3. Scott Stephen on a stop.
And a good one-on-one isolated job by Scott Stephen that time on Barry Sanders, because everyone else in back of Scott Stevens was being blocked.
You know, Barry Sanders was very candid about how the incentive has been taken out of the season for him, and that there's no playoff hopes. So it would be tough for him to get fired up for the game, but he's running well.
That's a tough thing for any young player coming into the NFL. Everybody that's drafted high coming into the NFL has come from generally winning programs. When they come to teams that aren't winning, it's a maturation process. They've got to think of the team first and not themselves. I don't like losing. Nobody likes losing.
2nd and 7 from the 27. Pete on the option to Sanders. Run out of bounds by Jerry Holmes, and it looks like for no gain on the play. Jerry Holmes, the ex-Lion, 9th-year player out of West Virginia, stringing the play out nicely.
That was an example there of Pete just deciding to flip that ball out late to Barry Sanders, and maybe he could make something happen. Rodney decided, I can't do anything with it. Let's give it to him.
Well, the net effect was a loss of 1 on the play, bringing up a 3rd and 8 situation. Vernell Dick goes out. Johnny Holland, right inside backer in for the Pack.
Packers have been blitzing in this situation.
Flag on the play will stop the play. And it looks like there was an awful lot of movement, maybe encroachment on the Packers.
Enforcement defense.
And that is the call from Pat Haggerty.
Now watch Hall. He's right here over the center. He's going to come in here, and the linebacker comes in and taps him on the left leg there, and as soon as he taps him on the left leg, watch him jump like, oh, I'm supposed to go now? I think he was trying to tell Mark to move over, not to attack the quarterback.
3rd and 3 from the 24. Pete, intercepted. Packers. Leroy Butler. And Butler takes it back to the 12.
Not the wisest of choices by Rodney Pete here. Watch where this ball comes. Never a chance. Butler had perfect position the entire way. The ball ended up being thrown a little bit low. Maybe it's not an excuse, but the wind may have knocked that one down just low enough for Butler to be a factor.
but thwarted the last few times.
Well, they're the number 2 team in the league. They get inside the 20. They almost always score. So far today, we've seen a fumble. We've seen an interception. We've seen one field goal. So they've had 3 chances. They've come away with 3 points, and these turnovers are killing Detroit. Green Bay is playing much more sort of level-headed, emotional football.
Well, we talked about June Jones and Mouse Davis wanting to answer some critics with the run and shoot playing well. Your assessment at this point in the game?
Well, the system is doing fine. It's the individuals operating the system that are fouling up at this point.
2nd and 12 from the 11. Keel back to pass. And it's complete and loose. Fumble. And Ray Crockett takes it in for the score for Detroit. Touchdown, Detroit. So just that quick, things turn around, and the Lions with an opportunity to tie this ball game up with 10:42 remaining.
Ed West caught that ball. The ball popped up as he was being tackled. As Blair Keel, quarterback's usual first question when he comes to the sideline in that case is, what happened? And he usually gets hit or he's blocked from view. He doesn't know what went on. He goes, what happened?
Ray Crockett, 5'9", 181 out of Baylor, stepped into the starting left corner spot in place of the injured Bruce McNorton.
They have called it a touchdown. They were reviewing that play. They decided a very easy decision. 6 points, Detroit.
And Murray on for the point after. And it's good, and we've got a tie ball game here at Lambeau Field between the Lions and the Packers. All even at 17.
What starts out to be a very conservative, kind of a simple play for the Green Bay Packers turns deadly for the Green Bay fans. Watch him as he turns over. He's not touched, he's not down yet, and the ball pops out as he rolls over. That was the key. West was rolling on the ground, the ball popped out, he had not been down. Result is 7 points for Detroit.
42 remaining, all even at 17 apiece. And Ray Crockett, a 22-yard fumble return, and, well, I think he's got to be a little out of his mind.
Hospitals are full of fans like that.
Eddie Murray set to kick off for the Lions. And now he isn't.
So we've seen the kickers too. Look at the left shoe of Eddie Murray. The left shoe of Eddie Murray is now an AstroTurf shoe. It was a regular cleat before. The footing must be getting very treacherous for these kickers.
And the ball is picked up at the 18. And Wilson brings it up to about the 38. So the Packers will start with excellent field position.
One more look at this touchdown from a very low angle. Watch West. He briefly has possession of it right here. Now it's coming out. Now it's a fumble, and it sort of is served up very neatly for Mr. Crockett to bring it in.
Couldn't be any neater. First and 10 for Green Bay out of the I formation from its own 39. And flag on the play as Thompson carries back up to the line of scrimmage. And William White may have gotten a little too anxious at time trying to come in with the safety blitz. Offside signal against the Lions. Wintry conditions here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Minus 33 the temperature, 17 all the score, 10:27 remaining in the fourth. James Brown along with Randy Cross, and you see what's there to keep things warm. Scoring, Blair Keel in the first quarter for the Packers. Pete, second quarter, make that first quarter action for the Lions. It was 7 apiece at that point. ball carrier.
Detroit's bound and determined to get that blitz in, but they keep jumping offside.
Defense, first down.
To look at Chris Spielman, I gave you the scoring in the first quarter. In the third quarter, Darrell Thompson, a 76-yard kickoff return for the score for the Packers. That helped them to a 14-7 lead. Eddie Murray with a 22-yard field goal narrowed the gap to 14-10. Chris Jackie with a 25-yard field goal made it 17-10. And then Ray Crockett with a 22-yard fumble recovery back for the touchdown, and we're all even at 17 apiece. As you take a look at Wayne Fonts trying to bear the brunt of the cold there.
Green Bay called their final timeout. They have none left with 9:44 left in the fourth quarter.
National Football League is sponsored by Mitsubishi. The word is getting around. Visa, official card and traveler's check of the 1992 Olympic Games. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by Levi's 505 and 506 jeans.
First and 10 for the Pack. Ball at its own 49. And the Packers, keep in mind again, have called their last timeout for the ball game. Sterling Sharp for the first down, his first catch of the afternoon, and it's an 11-yard pass play. And you take a look as he's moving slowly there with those bruised ribs, Randy, that you talked about earlier.
In this kind of weather, that's got to hurt. Actually, he's got cracked ribs. It's not just a little bruise. He's got cracked ribs. He has to have him injected before the game to deaden the pain. And look right there as Jones landed on his side. That compresses the rib cage. And you see Sterling Sharp's stats. Fine year last year, having a good year this year, going to Hawaii, where the weather won't quite be like this.
First and 10 from the 38 of Detroit. 9 minutes remaining in the contest. Haddix goes ahead for maybe one. As you take a look at Sterling Sharp, and Randy, he talked very candidly about a number of passes that he just could not go for this year because of the injury that he sustained against Atlanta. Make that Tampa Bay.
That's a very bad injury to have. I've had cracked ribs. It's one thing for an offensive lineman to have cracked ribs, but for a receiver who's constantly being hit, landed on, being hit when he's all stretched out, that's a very tough individual right there, because he's been playing for quite a while with his ribs in that condition, and they will not heal until after the Pro Bowl.
Hasn't practiced since the November 25th injury. Second and 8. Keel with time. Throws it complete to Query for the first down, and Query gets it to the 25.
Being called down by contact right there, very emphatically. You see the official point to the ground. That's what he's saying. The man is down.
11-yard pass play. Benny Blades, Mike Kofer in on the tackle.
And now you be the official. Does this ball come out before or after he hits the ground? Here comes Query. The ground caused the contact. The ground caused the fumble.
Back to live action. There's a fumble here. Haddix couldn't hold on to it, and it's Lions ball. So if you don't get it the first time, try again. Lions hitting hard on defense. Pops the ball loose from Michael Haddix. Chris Spielman recovered that fumble.
And even up here in the booth, James, it's getting colder and colder, which means this ball is going to get more and more difficult to hold on to. See, that was never hit, never touched. Pete finally hits him and keeps him away from the ball, but Haddix just plain old dropped that. And I don't think you can say enough. We've sort of overlooked it a little bit here about Green Bay having no timeouts left. I mean, at what point do you trade off having an inexperienced quarterback who's running the right play to your strategy in the fourth quarter? You're in a tied game and have no timeouts left.
Sanders can't find the footing there. Maybe a half-yard gain on the play. And the ball is being marked back at the line of scrimmage, so no gain on the play for Barry Sanders. Second and 10. 17 ball games. Look at Lindy Infante. Will be pushed to his tactical limits with no timeouts remaining. Tie ball game. But a third-string quarterback who has been doing a very good job. Rodney Peete. Quick pass. First down. And good juke moves by Robert Clark. And check that. That was Aubrey Matthews with the moves there. And the first down, 13 yards picked up on the play. Well, we've talked about weather being a factor today. It certainly has been with respect to how the players have not been able to hold on to the ball. Wind chill, minus 36.
And we talked about at the beginning of the game, Mounce Davis and June Jones wanted a chance to sort of put things to rest. This offense can work in bad weather. Here you go, fellas. You got 6.5 minutes left.
And Pete, that time, looking for Jason Phillips with a quick pass, incomplete. NFC wild card race, one spot left. 6 teams vying for it. Green Bay in the hunt. They need the victory today over Detroit.
And the main reason they need this victory today is because Detroit is an NFC opponent. Very important. They can actually make the playoffs at 7-9, but they must win this game.
7-9 will do it with a whole lot of help from a lot of other teams. Second and 10. Complete for the first down to Robert Clark. Make no mistake about it, Robert Clark is the favorite receiver for Rodney Peete. 9 of Pete's 18 career touchdowns have gone to Clark.
We're watching the running back running effectively with the ball, sometimes without the ball. And watch Rodney Peete gets to Clark. Watch him slip as he comes down and hits the ground. Look at that. No traction. That is whatever grass is left on top of this turf is just sort of for cosmetic reasons only. This field is solid.
First and 10 from midfield for the Lions. 5:40 remaining in the game. All tied at 17 apiece. Sanders, the ball carrier. First down. And Barry Sanders run out of bounds at about the 13-yard line by Mark Murphy. And Sanders, who already has taken over the NFL rushing lead, picks up 37 on that play. 14 carries for 120 yards.
Now you watch Barry Sanders, but watch Andlesick, the left guard right here, come out in front of Barry, lead blocking him here on the pull. Gets a nice block. Just gets enough of Tim Harris to knock him off balance. And from there on, it's all Barry Sanders and Barry's speed. And the veteran Murphy just does get him out of bounds.
First and 10 from the 13 of the Packers. Sanders. And Barry Sanders looked to have been tripped up. Tony Bennett, a little help on the play.
That was a nice play by Tony Bennett because Utley, the right guard, number 60, was out in front of Barry Sanders doing a good job. Bennett fought through 2 blocks to make that play.
Coming next, the road to the Final Four begins here at CBS. Premier college basketball action, Duke and Oklahoma. Jim Nance and Billy Packer will have the action from you. 51 straight home victories by Oklahoma. Duke will go in and try to do something about that today. That's coming up next. Right here, second and 10. Sanders. And Barry Sanders down near the 5, tackled by Mark Murphy. 7 yards picked up by Sanders. And you see the time remaining, 4:13 left in a contest, all tied at 17 apiece. Lions trying to win their first outdoor game this season.
And you see Barry Sanders' stats there, 18 carries for 127 yards. You know, this is the Detroit run and shoot. There's different versions of the run and shoot. Warren Moon's had a lot of success in Houston, 527 yards last week. But Rodney Peete is very efficient with his passes, and he's got the best running back in football behind him.
3rd and 3 from the 6. Sanders. Touchdown, Detroit. No flags.
And that run is greeted with a less than enthusiastic lack of sound here in Green Bay. The fans don't appreciate that at all, but a pretty run by Barry Sanders and a nice play by the Detroit Lions with very good blocking. One more time. Let's look at the right side of the line for Detroit. Utley and Salem get nice blocks, and the rest is Barry Sanders and his speed. Terry Greer got a good block as a wide receiver, but Barry Sanders just saw enough room, and with that speed, he's gone.
Eddie Murray, the point after is good, so the Lions move out in front of the Packers by a touchdown with 3:37 remaining. And Randy, I found it kind of interesting. We were asking how a hard, slick field would prove for Barry Sanders running-wise in 5 games outdoors for Barry Sanders, average 116 yards, and he's right on target today.
Well, he also made mention of the fact that, is it going to affect me? Will I have a hard time running? He says, hey, I know where I'm going. Everybody else has to worry about where I'm running. I know where I'm going. And where he went right there was right at the corner because there was nobody around.
Sanders, 19 carries for 133 yards. Coming up tonight on CBS, You Take the Kids, Lenny, Broken Badges, and Candid Camera Christmas Special, all coming up tonight right here on CBS. And after good football action today and college basketball coming your way next.
Well, we talked about the Detroit offense, the run and shoot, trying to prove that they can move the ball in bad weather. They've done that with their last drive. Now can the Green Bay Packers, with a third-string quarterback and now no timeouts with 3.5 minutes left, drive the length of the field for a tying score? They put themselves in a very, very deep hole.
And again, to underscore the point that Randy's making, Green Bay, no timeouts remaining. Detroit, full complement of 3. Eddie Murray to kick off. Low liner. And Darrell Thompson picks it up from the 33 and dives to the 40. 7-yard return by Darrell Thompson. 3:30 remaining in the contest. Packers trailing by 7.
This game is turning into a special teams coach's nightmare. The kickers are really suffering, as are their performances. But Frank Gans, the special team coach for Detroit's got to be going nuts on the sideline that you're giving the opponent the ball back on the 40-yard line after a very, very short kick.
First and 10. Vince Workman, wide receiver slot to the near side. Keel throwing for Perry Kemp, incomplete as it hit the ground first. It'll be 2nd and 10. Ray Crockett on the coverage.
This Detroit defense is a defense that likes to drop back, so usually crossing patterns in front of the linebackers work very well. Their linebackers traditionally drop very deep. Let's look for some crossing patterns from the wide receivers and Big Ed West some more underneath the linebackers.
2nd and 10. Formation shift again. Vince Workman. Wide receiver slot to the left. Keel. To Workman. Incomplete. To the outside of Workman. Ray Crockett there for the coverage again. We'll bring up a 3rd and 10. Well, one of the questions that Lindy Infante and the coaching staff of the Packers wanted to have answered was what the backup quarterback spot would look like as they look toward next year, particularly with Don Mikowski out with shoulder surgery, and certainly Blair Keel making a strong statement here today.
Actually, some mention of, gee, should the Packers draft McGuire out of San Diego State to back up Mikowski? If you can't protect Mikowski, a running quarterback, don't get a big thrower as a quarterback.
On 3rd down, nearly intercepted by William White. There's a flag on the play. Wilson was being defended by Ray Crockett.
And that is a huge play right there because the Packers were about to be faced with having to go for it on 4th down. They're now going to have 1st down. Let's watch it one more time. What it probably was a little contact before the ball got there. Just coming out of the right part of the screen, you saw Crockett hit Wilson in the back. You saw Wilson lurching forward. And Wayne Fonts obviously does not quite agree with that call.
1st and 10, ball at midfield for the Packers. 3:16 remaining in the contest. No timeouts remaining for Green Bay. 3 wide receivers. And Keel. Complete to Workman. Just shy of the first down marker. Stopped by George Jameson. Workman, second-year player out of Ohio State, with a 9-yard pass play. And the clock continues to tick. 2:52 remaining in the game.
One thing to keep in mind here, Detroit has played in 2 overtime games, lost both of them due to the fact of sort of bonehead mistakes. They keep teams in the game late.
Complete to Wilson for the first down. Inside the 25 to about the 24. So Blair Keel keeps the drive alive as he finds Charles Wilson.
Wilson, the inside of the 2 receivers here with Workman outside of him. Just gets right up in the zone, sits right in the seam. Good job by Blair Keel.
And Blair Keel will allow the clock to wind down to the 2-minute warning as he heads to the sidelines to talk it over with Lindy Infante, as does Charles Wilson. Lions lead, 2 minutes remaining in the contest. Ball on the 24. And the Green Bay Packers with no timeouts remaining, and no lead is too big and comfortable for the Lions.
We talked about the Lions blowing some leads. Look at it right there. And those bottom 2 are games they lost in overtime. They win those 4 games. You're looking at a playoff team here in Detroit.
1st and 10. Ball at the 24 of the Lions. Keel out of the shotgun. Incomplete. Leroy Irvin will be whistled for pass interference, defending Carl Bland.
Defensive pass interference from the 37. First down.
Irvin, the 11th-year veteran out of Kansas.
And here's Bland right here working against Irvin. Let's keep an eye on this. Does Irvin get there before the ball? He's protesting. He's complaining. He says no. Boy, that's not even close, Leroy. You can't even convince an official on the other side of the field you didn't do that.
1st and 10 from the 14 of the Lions. 4 wideouts in for the Packers. Keel. Fade pattern, intended receiver was Herman Fontenot. Incomplete. As you take a look at Fontenot coming back.
Big thing missing right now for the Green Bay Packer offense is Sterling Sharp, still suffering on the sidelines with those ribs. You see Crockett took a bad spill and slide on that frozen mud over on the sideline. We'll take one last look at it right at the end here. See Fontenot, Jameson. Now watch Crockett right here. That's frozen mud. That's nothing but frozen mud. Ouch. I mean, if I landed there, I wouldn't be hurt. I've got plenty of pad, but that's an athlete there. That's got to hurt him.
You would think that would be the softest area. There's no question I would be hurt.
And there's Sterling Sharp, obviously very dejected and still suffering quite a bit of pain from that rib injury.
Certainly has given it his best. As Blair Keel gets last-minute instructions from Lindy Infante. And again, they'll have to carry a ways because the Packers, with no timeouts remaining, 1:51 remaining in the contest, trailing by 7. And Detroit, whistle timeout. They've got 2 remaining.
And Detroit's being charged with that timeout because of the injury in the last 2 minutes of the game to Crockett. So now Detroit is down to 2 timeouts.
you were in Florida somewhere, the way these fans are enjoying themselves.
They have fun. Everybody's dressed for it. I mean, they've got the clothes for it.
2nd and 10. Ball at the 14 of Detroit. Keel, incomplete. Intended receiver, Herman Fontenot. George Jameson on the coverage. And don't forget, coming up at the conclusion of this game, the NFL Today postgame show. Greg and Terry in New York bring you up to date on all the latest information from around the league. And following that, the season premiere of college basketball here on CBS, Duke and Oklahoma.
The receivers to watch in this Green Bay offense. Normally a Sterling Sharp would come out of the slot position, crossing across the field into the end zone.
3rd and 10. Keel, intercepted. Ray Crockett. So the Lions come up big as Ray Crockett picks up his 4th interception of the season. And the Lions, with 1:39 to try and hold on for their first outdoor victory this season. And there's a late flag on the play. Maybe a bit too much celebrating.
A little unnecessary celebration here. But if you look out in the dictionary under forced pass, they might have a picture of this. Not a chance. He'd have had to throw that with a howitzer to physically throw it through the bodies of William White and Crockett to get it to his receiver. That ball had no business being in that area.
Intended receiver was Charles Wilson, and first interception of the afternoon for Blair Keel. Statistically, some awfully strong numbers. 20 of 36, 239 yards.
And with no timeouts for the Green Bay Packers, you can stick a fork in the Packers. They're done. Detroit Lions can just fall on the ball and run it out from here.
Ball on the 4 of Detroit, but still 1:39 remaining. And Pete goes down in the win the game position. And Randy, you talked about those no timeouts coming back to haunt them, the Packers.
You just can't do that. When you're playing against a team that's so evenly matched like Detroit and Green Bay, you can't waste little things like timeouts. It's just like a championship game. You've got to assume it's going to go down to the last second.
Well, these two teams split last season and apparently will do so again this season.
And Rodney Peete will use his clock down to the very last second on the game clock, which is down to 4 seconds.
The coordinating producers of the NFL on CBS, Chuck Milton III and Ed Gorin. This telecast was produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Kathy Barretto. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. Senior producer of CBS Sports, David Winter. And the executive producer is Ted Shaker. Thanks to Stats and Numbers, Gary Lynn and Steve Kleinfeld.
And you see Detroit celebrating on the sidelines, but there'll be nothing but sorrow in Green Bay because their playoff hopes are now dead. And that will stop the clock right there with 13 seconds left for an illegal procedure. Puts the ball all the way back on the 1-yard line.
3rd and 13. 3rd and 13.
3rd and 13 for what should be the last play of the ball game. As the clock continues to wind down, so Detroit will pick up its first victory outdoors. And Green Bay, as a result of today's loss, out of the playoff race for 1990. Special thanks to the PR directors, Lee Remmel for Green Bay and Bill Keenest for the Detroit Lions. The final score, today's game, Lions win it 24-17. Our coverage will continue with the NFL Today postgame show. Greg and Terry will bring you up to date on the latest information from around the league. You're watching CBS Sports.